This is what the top 1% of professionals do that you don't. See, the top 1% of professionals, they have their pick of the best jobs. They have their pick of the best networks. While you are unhappy with what you were given, yet you can't speak up about it. See, I am someone who was once one of the top 5 apprentices in my company. I once had 3 job offers at the exact same time that I could take my pick of. I've been able to develop networks with millionaires, with top 1% employees themselves, with CEOs of companies. How was I able to do that? By implementing the principles I'm going to teach you that the 1% of professionals do, that the rest don't. Number 1, one of the most important things, not only in your career, but in your life, the importance of networks and relationships. You can call it whatever you want. The way I teach it, it's not this. You can call it ass kissing or brown nosing or nepotism. You can call it whatever you want. But if you want to move to the upper echelons of career, you have to increase your networks and your relationships. Networks will get you into rooms that experience doesn't. Networks will get you opportunities that hard work can't. Simply by knowing the right people, you will elevate your opportunities for promotions, for new jobs, for your personal brand. Networking is the key component the top 1% of professionals use. You best believe if you go to somebody who is a top performer in their industry, their network is crazy. Their social medias, their phone books, their friends in high places. Now, of course, when they first started their career, it was not always like that. They had to go through their own failures, their own trials and tribulations in order to develop that network. However, networking with people who are above you in a sense is good. What's even more powerful, however, is networking with people who have ambition. Networking with people who are in a similar position to you. Let's say you're not the CEO of a company yet, but you know somebody who is in a similar position to you, maybe in an entry level or mid-level management role, and they're looking to increase their responsibility. They're looking to develop. They're looking to network. They're looking to increase their power in their company. You putting those 2 ideas together, those 2 minds together, you being one and the other person being the other, that increases your network, because eventually when you both get to where you want to get to, you've built that relationship, you've built that rapport. So networks, very, very important. Let me tell you what an average employee does when they go to a networking event, for example. The average employee, when they're going to a networking event, they stay in the corner. They stay in the corner, they sip their drink, they don't speak to anyone. If they do have friends, or if they have come with someone, they stick to the same circle. They only speak with people they're comfortable speaking with. And they don't make any new connections. No new connections. Whenever I go to a networking event, it is my duty to get at least 10 new connections on LinkedIn, on Instagram, phone numbers, names. It's my duty. So the average professionals do this. Most likely you do this. The top 1% of professionals, they make new connections. They get contacts. They speak to strangers. If you want to even take it further, they make connections. So if you've got a friend who is looking to go into media, and you know somebody who is a hiring manager in a media company, you can even make connections yourself. And what will that do? That will put you in a position of power right in the middle of that interaction. They make connections between others. You can imagine many, many other things that are along the lines of this. They make new connections, they get contacts, they speak to strangers, they introduce themselves, they make connections between friends. Networking is how I was able to become one of the top 5 apprentices in my old sales company. We had about 80 apprentices, and because I was able to network, I remember one time we were at an event and the CEO of the company was there. He was at the bar, and I went up to him and I said, I recognize you, of course, you're the CEO of the company. I asked him, do you have any books you would recommend to me? I was starting out as an apprentice. I was about 18. And he said, yes, of course. Thank you for asking me that question. And he literally sent me one of his personal books. One of his personal books. He went to the office, he brought it in, and he said, yeah, this is for you, Tion. Connections, networks. How many other apprentices, how many other employees have done that? Number 2, what the top 1% of professionals do also is they always lead with value. Value first approach. The top 1% of professionals realize that people are selfish. People care about what you can do for them, especially in work. Work is about solving people's problems, and people only care about how well you can solve their problems. This is why the top 1% of professionals do a value first approach. They always lead with how they can solve their problems. What the average professional does is they simply say features. For example, let's say you're in tech sales like I was. The average professional says, so average, says, in our cloud storage, we have 600 gigabytes of storage. Let's say you're talking to a potential customer. What the top 1% of professionals do is they lead with value first, problem solving first. They say, you mentioned last time that you run out of storage. We actually have an offer that has 600 gigabytes of storage. How does that sound? They lead with the problem. The problem was run out of storage. The feature comes second. The problem comes first. They use value first approaches. Always about solving problems. Whenever you're going to your boss for a raise, whenever you're going to your colleague for input on a meeting or on a project, always approach with value first. How does them helping you solve their problems? It's not even about you, it's about their problems. The average employee goes to their boss and says, I think I deserve a raise. Why? I've worked so hard over the past 3 years. I've been with the company now and I've been loyal. The top 1% of employees says, over the past 3 years, I've solved X, Y, and Z problems. If you were to give me more responsibility, I believe I can solve A, B, and C problems for the company in the next 2 years. This is my plan. Number 3, development. When the workday ends, 9 to 5 day ends, the average employee goes home and watches Netflix. The top 1% of employees, they develop, they read, they try different projects, they fail, they learn from that failure, they develop. 90% of employees treat their job as a bill paying scheme. They are in their jobs to literally pay bills. If you want to become a top 1%, you have to treat your job as a part of your wider career. And you have to treat your career as how you provide value. Don't hound me out for this, but work-life balance doesn't exist. The only time work-life balance exists is when the work you are doing is not your life. I'm a communications coach. I speak to people for a living. I help people improve their communication. If I had infinite money in the bank and I didn't need to work, I would still be a communications coach. I would still be speaking to people. I would still be helping them, hearing their stories. If the statement of work-life balance doesn't exist triggers you, it's because you're doing work that is not meant for you. You're treating your work as a bill-paying scheme. If I was to go to someone who enjoys their work, who gets up to live for work, who provides value in how they work, them simply existing is how they solve problems, and solving problems is work. They wouldn't get triggered. People who have built what they love, if I told them work-life balance doesn't exist, they would understand. Because work is life, life is work. How you provide value is how you live. How you provide value is also how you work. I'm not saying a 9 to 5 there's no way to have autonomy. No, you don't have to be an entrepreneur. 9 to 5s and careers, of course, you have so much value in a career you can give. And this is what I aim to help you do, using communication. So if you're in a career where you do enjoy and you do love it, then this shouldn't even be work. This is just you learning. It's you having fun. It's you playing around with things. If you love tech, if you love law, if you love being a doctor, then if I tell you when you go home to read a bit about that, that should be nothing. That should be play. And if I say that and it does trigger you, that might be a sign that you're not doing something you love. Number 3, development. The top 1% of professionals, they develop while their colleagues sleep. Number four, the top 1% of professionals ask elite, effective, you know what's coming, questions. They ask elite, effective questions. The average professional will ask questions like, any thoughts, guys? The top 1% of professionals, they ask specific, problem-oriented questions. They ask questions like, have you thought about the risk of, if there was one thing we had to get right, what would it be? One thing to get right. What? They don't ask broad questions. They ask specific questions to tackle the root of a problem. Asking broad questions, it shows broadness. It shows you're not too sure. Being willing to go into a question shows that you are ready to understand and unpack the issue at hand. They ask questions like, how will we measure success? What are the metrics we need? You see how a question like this, it just circles around the issue. There's nothing really being moved forward. Of course, if you were to ask any thoughts and then go into these questions, that's fine. But most people just leave it here and they give the responsibility to other people. Asking questions like these, it pushes the needle forward into the success of the project, into solving problems. Number 5 is assumptive language. Assumptive language. The average professional will ask, is 2 p.m. still okay for our meeting? Is 2 still okay for our meeting? Asking. The top 1% of professionals, they assume, I'm looking forward to our meeting at 2. If you want to take it further, I trust you saw the resource pack we sent. And then you can say, what value did you get from that? See the difference? Is 2 p.m. still okay for our meeting? Versus, I'm looking forward to our meeting at 2 p.m. I trust you saw the resource pack we sent. Did you get any value from it? Is there anything you want to discuss specifically in the meeting? 5 things that, if you do, people will wonder what happened to the old you. If you start to implement these things, people will wonder what's happened. If you want to take a picture of all of them together, let me do them again. So number 1, I forgot. What was number one? Yes, so number one, networks and relationships. Number two, a value first approach. Number three, development. Number four, assumptive language. Excuse me. Number four, effective questioning. And number five, assumptive language. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My name is Tion. This has been a quick masterclass on how you can become a top 1% professional. If you would like to work with me further, then click the link below in the description to book a call, and either me or my team will be on that call to help you uncover how we can make you a top 1% communicator to make more money and deepen relationships.